Okay. Well, let's jump into the whole age question, because I think that's a good place to start. And a lot of the angst in our social media posts where people were going back and forth were around age and us communicating when we thought was a good age and when might not be a good age. So let's talk about that. And to do it, I'm going to read 2 comments that came in on social media, and I'm going to try to hold Jeff back. But here's 2 comments.
I don't mind the first comment.
Well, the first comment has 2 parts to it, and part of the first part says these guys meaning us, and really meaning Jeff and Chipper Jones and some of these guys that we've posted comments about. Says these guys come from a different generation. How do you like that?
We have. I'm 40 now.
And times have changed. If you're not in the mix from a young age, you simply won't make it, period. Then they go on to say, plus, when done right, it's a fantastic experience that builds sensational, lasting memories, profound bonding, and outstanding maturity. It all depends on the parents. And then the second comment, which
I'm
is
still convinced y'all just put it
a little more abrupt. Yeah, I just made this one up. It's 2024.
No, this is a real post. You make it up.
It is a real post. Yeah. It's 2024. If you aren't all in by 10, you are toast.
And whoever said that is the biggest idiot I've ever met. And we've probably just lost a follower, and I'm okay because I think our podcast is better without them following us.
So if you see this person at a travel softball tournament, is he going to have a T-shirt that says "All in by 10"?
I hope they do. If that's who it is, I would love to meet him because it's the dumbest comment.
Okay, we're not sharing any names. We actually like comments on both sides. It's provocative.
Yeah, that's not a comment though.
It's engaging. We love the engagement. We love the opinions.
Britt's trying to take the
high road.
I'm not. Look, the first comment I love. We are from a different generation. I don't agree if you're not in the mix at a young age, you simply won't make it.
So let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, think about it. We had certain people come on and talk about, I didn't play organized football till 8th grade.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't in the mix at 10 years old. We've had people, play basketball. They weren't doing all this stuff at 10 years. That doesn't mean you're not. Now, does it mean you shouldn't play any of this and then pick it up? No, that's what we're talking about. You got to play some competitive ball to continue to rise your level. But when you're saying in the mix, and that's what I'd love to know from that. What's the age for that? That's why I said, I'm all for, 7th, 8th grade. Maybe you start making that transition where you travel a little more out of town, depending what it is. But again, it doesn't have to be every weekend.
No. I think the thing we've tried to promote in this show big time, and we've had lots of people say this who are experts, is, a lot happens after puberty.
Yeah.
And you are not, if you're not all in at 9 or 10 years old, it's not over. I mean, you still have opportunity. There's so much development that happens after that.
That first comment, what I do like, though, is the second part. Plus, when done right, it's a fantastic experience that builds sensational, lasting memories, profound bonding, and outstanding maturity. And I agree with that. It does make a lot of great memories. Again, I think it depends on the parents. Can the parents do it financially? Can they afford to continue to do this? Do you want to do it? So I love all that. Like I said, the whole thing for me in that is if you're not in the mix from a young age, you simply won't make it.
Well, the other thing I would say to that is,
well, make it. Look, let me ask you.
What's your definition of make it?
Yeah, what's your definition of make it?
I agree, right?
Because
make your high school team.
Yeah, and
make college.
And we talk about we have on these great athletes who are all very accomplished, and most of them have said this in some form or fashion that, they're the top. If not 5%, they're the top 1%.
They're elite. So
they're going to make it no matter what. Make it, meaning college. Let's just say college is not even pro, but there's a genetic factor there, folks who are more gifted than others. The majority of our audience, whether it be parents or kids, probably fall into that middle category. And so make it, and we live in Atlanta, but for other communities that it's super, super competitive in high school, make it may just be to make your high school team.
Yeah.
And so the question would be, there's a standard too, to if you're in Dallas, Texas, or you're in Houston, or you're in, Boston, whatever, there's a standard to make your high school teams. And that standard that's not going to go away. it's just a fact. And so as a parent, you should make your kid understand that there's a standard. And so, what's the best, healthiest way to get to that standard? And as parents, that's our job is to find that way. And I think it comes back down to Britt has talked, comes down to really puberty, because I think that's a defining mark in two areas. One is because you're going to see kind of what your kid's body type is after puberty. But then I think that's a great mark to sit there and say, okay, now you really need to start owning this journey. I can help you. I can give you advice. I can, especially like we've had folks talk about, well, I can help you with the fundamentals. I can get you, good training. But they at some point have to sit there and go, my goals are this. And you're like, great. Now you go, I'll help you with them. I'll drive you where you need to go, but you have to own those goals. And I think puberty is kind of that great line to kind of use that with.
Yeah, that's good. Well, let's talk about this. And this could be behind some of these comments, because we had people make these comments. If you're not in the feeder program, then you're not going to make your high school team. Yeah. If you're not in the feeder program at 8, 9 years old, and let's talk about that a little bit. Because I was told that with my boys in basketball, and we were at a private school, but we're going to be at a public school for high school. And we were told, hey, you got to get them in the feeder program or they're not going to have a chance to make it in high school.
As I continuously say, when you step out on that 9th grade field for, say, football, you don't really try. If you want to play, you can play. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to play, but whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever it is, golf, I don't care. When you step out at a high school level, the coach, for the most part, is going to take, who's my best player? Who's my best chance to win? It's not personal.
Yeah.
But what is, and like I said, feeder program for football is different. Football is the only sport where it's really, you do have a feeder program that goes in there. Basketball, baseball, tennis, golf, volleyball, soccer, people are spread out everywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
I think it probably comes more into play of the kid that's probably a borderline kid to make the high school team. And so maybe those parents feel pressure to be in the system so that the coach knows their kid.
Right.
I definitely don't think it has anything to do with development. I think it's just like they feel like, hey, my kid has a better chance of making a high school team if they're in the quote unquote feeder program. If they're one of the better players, it doesn't matter.
I'm not trying to throw my high school coach under the bus here, but Chan Brown at Parkview, who's nationally ranked almost every year, has a feeder program called Meridian going, you really think he knows who's playing on the 6th grade team?
I doubt it.
Do you?
Probably not.
He's told me.
Yeah, he does.
No. He has no idea who's playing on the 6th grade team. It's a feeder program.
Yeah.
It's built for these kids to play and compete, which is great.
Yeah.
But if there's a kid in 8th grade that moves in or comes from whatever and he's better.
Yeah.
So that's my point. Like, find the right place for your kid. If it is the feeder program, great. You get to know people you're going in with. Fantastic. Like Braden, for my son playing lacrosse right now at Buford, that's their, like, the feeder program is really the only kind of lacrosse program I know of. It's not huge down here. So he is playing.
There's a lot of coaches that do like to know, like, especially in the small towns, they do want to know kind of who the kids are on the feeder program. Our coach at our high school was the same way, though. He's like, I really don't want to know. I want them to play it because it's good for them to play it, but I really don't want to get too close to them because I want to feel the pressure of a kid that's been in the program for 6 years, and then you have a new kid come in who's just better than them. And I want to feel the pressure to have to, to keep that kid.
Sorry, kid.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, final question on the age issue, and you touched on it already, but I want to kind of clarify a little bit. What age do we think that kids need to be all in? And we can define all in, but really serious, really making sure they're playing against the best competition if they want a chance to play at the next level and they have the talent to possibly play at the next level.
This is where Jeff got in trouble a little bit with a clip that he got beat up on a little bit. So we're going to give you a chance, Jeff, to come back and answer this question again.
What did I say?
Well, I think you kind of skewed a little
high.
Yeah, in age.
What, like sophomore year?
You kind of said 16, 17, 18. And people.
Sophomore year? I don't. Like, I didn't go to all these trials. 17 years old, I went to the Team USA tryouts. Other than that, I never did anything.
Yeah.
Football, I did Tuesday night passing leagues in Gwinnett County against the other things. I didn't go all in. I competed.
Yeah.
Like, what's your definition of go all in? That's what, like, do I have to go to a tournament in Houston, Texas? Do I? I don't think you do. To say you got to go all in at 7th grade, my kid, bull crap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this. If you were told, how old were you when you were told that you could be a pro prospect? Like you could get drafted out of high school. How old were you?
16, 17?
This is before your senior year, maybe? Or before that?
Yeah, like about my junior year when you started figuring that out. But it didn't mean I wanted to go travel the world to show people what I could do.
But I think there's so many different levels. I mean, you were the highest level, but I think some of these kids who have a chance to get drafted are told you need to go down to this prospect camp in wherever. I mean, that may be worthwhile for them to travel if it means it's going to affect their draft status.
Okay, but really, will it? To a certain extent.
You tell me.
You know what I'm
more
saying?
than I do. Seriously.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, does a kid really, if they look at him, 4th rounder and he goes a month later to this draft, is he all of a sudden going to be a 1st round pick?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think my senior year, I had a great senior year playing baseball, but I think the whole time going in, I was going to be a 1st round draft pick.
Yeah.
They've seen what I can do. They've done it. And why? Because, right? Like, that's the whole idea. Like, I always say, like, Jason Hayward, perfect example, walking around 6'5", just built like he's 1st round draft pick.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if he goes to somewhere to play. Now, if you want to go to some of these camps and to play in college, drafting is a whole nother thing. When you're getting drafted, these people see you no matter where you're going. So I hate, like for baseball, the sense for drafting.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about college then. So what do you think all in should be for college then? If a kid who thinks he has a chance to play at some level in college, when do you think all in should be?
Sophomore year?
Mm-hmm.
Even at college, that coach who's coaching there, what are they going to tell a freshman? Commit to me? There's a good chance that coach is going to be gone before he even gets there.
Hmm.
Or if you have from a scholarship like some of these schools do, I'm not going to call the names out of the colleges, but I do know they'll offer 50 scholarships.
Yeah.
They don't have to honor it.
Yeah.
I told you there was that one kid I remember who was in 8th grade and he committed to, I think, Mississippi State or South Carolina. And I'm like, you're not even playing on the varsity team yet. So like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's right about the same time. It's high school.
Yeah.
It's you go to high school and maybe at the end of middle school a little bit, but all in doesn't necessarily mean you got to only specialize in one sport.
Right.
But it probably does mean, okay, I got to make sure I'm getting better competition. I got to make sure I'm getting better coaching. This is the point where I've got to really start, counting the cost and making my sport that I want to go after a priority.
And I think too, let's talk about this. 2 things that I think go to this too. Where do you live? If you're out in the rural area, you're going to have to travel more.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just,
Yep.
you got to. And also the sport, golf, tennis, probably volleyball to a certain extent because it's not as big and there's not as many. You are going to have to travel a little more. And in those cases, in some of those, you probably are going to have to go in a little bit all in earlier because there's such specialized sports. But baseball, football, soccer, basketball, like there's great competition in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I definitely think for the family as well, I think the 9th grade or the start of high school is really the key, because I remember telling my wife, when my boys started playing varsity high school sports, I said, look, our family's going to have to make a sacrifice now. Is that they've made a commitment to their high school to be there for 4 years and to be at the, during spring break and baseball and stuff like that. And so that you have to be all in because you made a commitment to your school. I still think, I think probably skew a little bit lower, not in terms of like all in terms of they got to go travel all over the place, but just all in terms of, by 12 years old, 13 years old, they either have to let you know that they want to make a run at this, try to pursue this dream or this goal, or you have to be aware as a parent that maybe they really don't.
Yeah.
And if you're having to force them to get up and you have to be honest with them and say, look, okay, if you're not working out, you're probably not going to have the best shot, but they have to do that. You can't drag them out of bed and make them go work out.
And so why do we say the high school level? Because kids understand at high school what's at stake. Mm-hmm. If I do not do this, I still don't think at 6th and 7th grade, kids understand fully what's at stake.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if I go do this, I mean.